Hello, my lovely people. Welcome back to Liz's Reading Corner, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Liz and I like books, and today we are doing a reading vlog that I have been promising someone for a very long time. Dale, I'm looking at you. I am reading through the Deltora Quest books. Dale originally just asked for me to read through and just do a reaction basically to the original 8 or the first 8 books, but I thought why not go through and read them all. I have read this one already, so this will be a reread. So this is volume 1. It contains the first 8 books, so The Forests of Silence, The Lake of Tears, City of the Rats, The Shifting Sands, Dread Mountain, The Maze of the Beasts, The Valley of the Lost, and Return to Dell. This one follows Leif, or at least I'm pretty sure that's how I'm gonna have to check. I'm pretty sure that's how his name is pronounced, but this one follows Leif. So he gets the 7 gems for the Belt of Deltora and puts them all back together, basically. So like I said, I've read this one. This one will be a reread for me. This one is book 2, and it has the 3 books from the Deltora Quest 2 series in it. So the Cavern of the Fear, the Isle of Illusion, and the Shadowlands, which when I think of Shadowlands, all I think of is the awful World of Warcraft expansion. According to the synopsis, Leif, Barda, and Jasmine must find a weapon that will help them to free the citizens of Deltora from the Shadowlands where they are enslaved. And then we have this giant book, this behemoth. This is the 4 books of Deltora Quest 3. So this is the entirety of the Deltora Quest 3 series. It has Dragon's Nest, Shadowgate, Isle of the Dead, and the Sister of the South. So in this one, we return obviously again to Deltora. Leif, Barda, and Jasmine have to find the 4 sisters who are hidden within Deltora somewhere and are slowly killing the land, and the Dark Lord somehow, the Shadow Lord somehow finds out about their quest and does everything in his power to stop them. So that will be Deltora Quest 3. And I'm going to try and get them all finished this week. It's going to be interesting trying to get them finished this week because books 1 and 3 books 1 and 3 are both over 600 pages. So book 3 is like 650 pages and book 1 is like 700 and something pages. Book 2 is 370, I think it was 372 pages. So that is almost 2,000 pages. Is like, that's like what, 1,600 pages? It's about 1,600 pages, almost 1,700 pages for me to read in 1 week, which is doable if I don't get them finished. I'll get them finished. We'll get them finished in this week. 1 week. 1 week, 1,600 pages. 1,700 pages. 1 week, 1,700 pages in a week. It's Monday. We'll see how we go. I don't imagine it's going to be terribly difficult, but we'll get there.
1 week later.
We've gotten through them. That was a chore. I can't believe I got through all of this in 1 week. 1,760 something pages, 63, 65 pages, something crazy like that. I will probably never do that again, but I just realized that I never actually explained what these books are about. So we're going to really quickly go through what the books are about, and then I will talk about them as I go through them. Book 1. So this is book 1 in the Deltora Quest series. This actually has all of the first 8 books in it. Each book is about 100-ish pages, 120-ish pages long. They are made for middle school, so they're actually really quite easy reading. Book 1, we are introduced to the land of Deltora. Originally, the land of Deltora was inhabited by 7 individual tribes. Each had a gem that they revered, and this blacksmith named Aiden decided that he was going to try and keep the land safe from the Shadow Lord. Aiden convinced each of the 7 tribes to give him their gem, and he made a belt out of it, which became the Belt of Deltora, and it is what kept Deltora safe from the Shadow Lord for multiple generations. He wore it all of the time. Eventually, one of his descendants decided that they didn't want to wear the belt all of the time, and so it eventually came to the point where the new king would only wear the belt of Deltora on the day of his coronation, and then it would get locked away in a tower. The Shadow Lord over many years has infiltrated the king's court. He eventually gets into a position of power, which means that he has access to the belt, and he manages to destroy the belt, and the gems are spread out over the land again, and the whole world, or the whole land, turns into chaos. And then we cut to, I think it was like 10-ish years later, where we meet Leif and Barda, who are told that Leif is told that he has to go on a quest to find the belt, or to find the gems to remake the belt of Deltora and give it to the true king. Barda is his companion that goes on the journey with him. So Barda is there from the very beginning. So they meet Jasmine when they find the first gem, and she ends up joining their company, and then they go through and find all of the gems. The Belt of Deltora, they find out that Leif is actually the true king, and they manage to beat the Shadow Lord, and the land of Deltora is safe once again, basically. I have read this one before, so I read this one a few years ago, so this one ended up being a reread. I really enjoyed it the first time that I read it, but because it was a reread and because it's only been a few years since I've reread it, because I never really got into this one when I was a child, like, it's a good read. It's not a terrible read. It is interesting. It's really easy to get through. The story is actually really good. The whole thing is really well written. It just was just an average read. It's not something that I would really rave about. So I gave this one 3 stars. Next we have Deltora Quest 2. This is the 3 books from the Shadowlands series, so the next series of the Deltora Quest books. The Shadow Lord has been driven back across the mountains. Leif has taken his place as king of Deltora, but the Shadow Lord has taken some of the citizens of Deltora and is planning to use them in a plot to take over Deltora. And so the other citizens who remain in Deltora are trying to convince Leif to go into the Shadowlands to save these people, or at least to lead an army into the Shadowlands to save these people who have been taken by the Shadow Lord. Leif has found a story of this thing called the Piran Pipe, which was used to defeat the Shadow Lord, well, to keep the Shadow Lord at bay, I should say, like way back when, so way back in history. And so he goes on a quest again to find the pieces of the Piran Pipe to make the Piran Pipe whole again, because it was taken by the 3 different tribes, the 3 different Piran tribes, and he needs to use the pipe basically to get the people back from the Shadowlands and to defeat the Shadow Lord again. So the one thing that irritated me in this book, and I know that this was written like a long time ago, or a long time ago, I shouldn't say that, I feel old when I say that, but it was written a while ago. The biggest issue I have with it is that there is the miscommunication trope that is like really, really popular right now in books, especially like fantasy and romantasy books. It frustrates me when there is a miscommunication trope. There's no need for that. There's no need for secrets. And while I understand why certain secrets were kept, it still irritated me. So I got about halfway through this book and it took everything in me not to DNF it. We got through in the end. Leif saves the citizens of Deltora and beats the Shadow Lord again. And Deltora is once again allegedly safe from the Shadow Lords and the Shadow Lord and the Shadowlands. And then there was Deltora Quest 3. So this is the final 4 books in the Deltora Quest series. This one is about dragons, basically. The Shadow Lord gives Leif, Barda, and Jasmine a quest to kill the Sisters of the East, North, West, and South, and they have to go through basically and just kill. It follows the same basic premise as the other 2 books. Honestly, it's a Deltora Quest book. If I'm completely honest, by the time I got to this book, I was very much over it. I had already read over 1,000 pages of children's books, basically. I don't normally read that many or that much. Typically when I read children's books, I'll include it within it'll be included in amongst other books, so that way I don't get bored with it. And I was honestly really, really bored by the time I got to this. It's just, it doesn't feel, so the problem is the second two, it feels like when a TV series drags on too long and you're just getting extra just for the sake of getting extra, it doesn't really add anything. Like the Deltora Quest series could have finished with the first book or the first 8 books and it would have been fine. That's not to say the other two are bad, it just felt like it just dragged. It just felt like it was just being written for the sake of being written, because so many people enjoyed the first 8 books of the Deltora Quest series, and so it was just, it kind of felt like a cash grab, if I'm honest. So there we have it. I read them all in a week. I can't believe I read them all in a week. That was madness, and that is something I will not be doing again. I think because I was so over reading just the same thing. I think my biggest problem is that I'm not the kind of person who can sit there and read an entire series. I can't binge an entire series in one go or in 1 week. I have to space them out a little bit because I get bored. I get so bored. And I think that's why I just felt so meh about the Deltora Quest 3 books, because I'd already gotten over it by then. I probably will end up going through and rereading the Deltora Quest 3 book maybe next year, maybe late next year, I'm not sure. Maybe, we'll see. It's kind of, I didn't, like I said, I finished it, I didn't DNF it. It was good, it just wasn't great. The whole series was good, just not great. Overall, I just gave them all 3 stars. They are definitely the kind of books that I think my son would love to read, probably in about a year or 2, because he's turning 7 this year, so he's almost getting to the age where Deltora Quest would be his thing to read. I'm currently reading Sherlock Holmes, so he would probably be interested in reading it now. So I'll be reading them with him very soon, I think, or in the next couple of years at least. So there we go. I read it. Dale, I've read Deltora Quest just for you. Have you read Deltora Quest? What were your thoughts? What were your opinions? What did you rate it? If you have any book suggestions or any books you think that I would enjoy, please leave them in a comment down below. Like, share, and subscribe if you like what I do, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.